Hi, welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about teaching English for young learners. We are going to talk about general points related to teaching English to elementary school students. In this lecture, we are going to talk about these subtopics, English as a second language, ESL, and English as a foreign language, EFL, and the full language skills, young learners, characteristics, and a good teacher. First of all, we need to learn the difference between second language and foreign language. English in Palestine is a foreign language, not a second language. Why? Because it's learned for communication with native speakers and for studying in schools. But second language, this language has some specific functions within a society. So you can use it in hospital, in public institutions, but foreign language, there is no need to use it in your country, but we need to use it for to communicate with the native speakers or for studying. So there's a big difference between second language and foreign language. Also, the learner or the baby can learn second language from his or her mom or dad at home. But foreign language, you need to learn it in schools or universities. These are some abbreviations we need to learn it in. We use these abbreviations a lot in TEFL. So native language, it is NL or language 1, SL or language 2, second language, foreign language, FL, MT mother tongue, NS native speakers, English language, EL, TEFL teaching English as a foreign language. In any language, we have four language skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. First of all, you listen. You listen for sentences, words, etc. You try to speak the language you listened before. Then you can read this language. After that, or by the end, you can write. So writing is the last language skill you can acquire. The baby, first of all, listen to his or her mom, try to speak, try to imitate the word that he or she listened before. Then after that, we can learn how to read at the schools. By the end, we can start writing. You have to keep this sequence as it is: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Young learners' characteristics. You as English language teacher, you have to learn a lot about your students, your learners. Why? In order to know how to deal with these learners, in order to know how to select appropriate teaching activities, appropriate teaching methods, and how to deal with different individual differences among the students, in order to help your students to achieve acceptable level of learning. So you have to learn. Young learners are already very good in dealing and understanding the words or the sentences in general. They cannot understand word by word. So you can keep speaking English and students can get the general idea through the context. So you need to use your body language, gestures, aids, anything to help your students to get the general meaning of your words. Already have great skills in using limited language creatively. So young learners still need more language and idioms. They need to develop their language. So you need to use simple language, simple short sentences to help students to learn, and you have to add more words for students to develop their language skills or language limit. Also, they can learn. Also, they can learn through implicit language, not explicit language. So you have to start by giving the students examples, let them practice the language, imitate. You can ask students to repeat after you in order to learn. Then by the end of that, you can give the students the instructions, the structure. So first of all, you have to start by giving the students examples, real situations, ask them to repeat after you in order to acquire the new language. Because students our young learners depend on learning new things implicitly, not through explicit knowledge. Also, they need to feel fun atmosphere or relaxed atmosphere in order to learn, in order to encourage to participate. So you have to use games, songs, in order to give them a suitable atmosphere to learn. Besides that, young learners like storytelling, role playing. You have to encourage them to repeat the story after you, to teach them the new language through stories, role playing, because they have a great imagination in this age. You have to prepare speaking activities for young learners. So first of all, you can give them listening tasks, listening texts, then encourage them to answer questions related to the listening material by giving them space to speak, to talk about themselves, because they like to talk about themselves a lot. They like to ask a lot of questions. You can give them also a chance to ask questions. You can't depend on teaching them listening and speaking first. Then after that, you can encourage them to read and write by creating suitable activities to their language level. Um, uh, you can note that young learners prefer to work in groups, in pairs, but some of them avoid working in groups and pairs. But your role as a teacher to help them and encourage them to participate others through preparing pair work activities or group work activities. You can develop a problem thinking skills by asking students to answer specific questions related to real life situations, to encourage them also to use the new language in real life situations. Anyway, you have to depend on developing self-confidence, because if the learner feels he has self-confidence, he can participate and share during all the lesson activities. Um, yeah, besides of that, you have to develop the language of the world around the students by creating real life situations in order to help students also to use a new language in real life situations. Why do we need to know young learners' characteristics? You, as English language teacher, you have to use different teaching methods to help them to learn, to consider individual differences, to overcome learning problems. So you need to know more and more about your learners, to know the individual differences among your learners, to know their learning styles, their learning or their multiple intelligences, in order to create a suitable atmosphere and circumstances to help them to learn, to achieve the objectives of the learning successfully or in acceptable level. Do you think children learn best through rules, explicit knowledge, or through subconscious means, implicit knowledge? As mentioned before, yes, students or young learners prefer to learn language more in implicit knowledge by start giving them examples. Then after that, ask them to repeat after you. You can ask them to give more examples. By the end, you can give them the structure of the grammar rule. What are the young learners' characteristics? You can mention a lot of young learners' characteristics as mentioned before in this lecture.
Now it's time for talking about learning style, vague, visual, auditory, or kinesthetic learners. So, learning styles are ways that a student would naturally take in or process or remember information and skills, or the way they like to use in order to learn or interact or think. Um, you may have one or more than one type of these learning styles. But let we know first the meaning of each one. Visual, the learner learns best through seeing. How? For example, watch video, watch or reading the material, learning material, drawing, mind map, or to learn concepts. But auditory learners, the learner learns best through hearing. How? By depend in he prefers audio materials in order to learn, likes to record their own notes and listen to themselves or to her or himself. So the learner depends only on listening, learn through hearing or listening. But for kinesthetic learners, the learner learns best through using body. He likes physical experience to learn. He wants to feel the object and prefer to move around while learning something. Like to learn by doing, by experience, to pass experience in order to learn. So, you, if you think about yourself, which type of these types do you prefer and why? For example, for me, I'm visual. Most of the time, I'm visual learner. Why? Because I prefer to see and read things in order to learn. What about you? So you have to think in your learning style. Um, but again, you have to think more. You, as English language teacher, you have to develop students or learners visual, auditory, kinesthetic learning styles, not depend only on one thing or one learning style. So you need to vary your teaching methods, vary your activities, vary teaching aids in order to develop different learning styles or learners different learning styles, because students may always change or develop their learning styles, or students may have one or more than one learning style. As you see here, there are different characteristics for children, teenagers, and adults. So you can see children like moving a lot, can concentrate, but they have limited attention span. They can learn through experience, learning by doing. They cannot learn by hearing about the language. They need real examples, need to do things in order to learn, need to see examples in order to learn, are not very able to control and plan their own behavior because they are still learning, are not afraid of making mistakes or taking risks, yes, because they still learning and build concepts, are not aware of themselves and others' actions, pay attention to meaning in language. So you have to teach them through context, not in abstract ways. So you have to give them examples, include the new language, for example, new words, new structure, in order to help them to learn. They want to learn to know the general meaning, not to know the meaning of each word in the sentence. Have limited experience of life because they are still children. What about teenagers? So different activity, different characteristics, starting to keep still for a longer period, but they still need more to move. Concentration, developing, also beginning to learn in abstract way through thinking as well experiencing, beginning to control and plan their own behavior, more worry about what others think of them, sometimes uncomfortably aware of themselves and or their action, pay attention to meaning and increasingly to form, beginning to increase their experience of life. So you can note out of these characteristics, they began to develop their skills, social skills, thinking skills, attention span, worry about things around them, pay attention to people, become more sociable. What about adults? Adults able to keep still or for longer periods, can concentrate for longer period, learn in more abstract way. So the teacher here can start from the grammar rule, then after that examples, after that practice. But for children and sometimes for teenagers, the teacher should start from examples, help students to elect the rule out of examples, then after that practice. But for adults, students prefer to learn through a deductive way, not inductive way. Usually able to control and plan their own behavior, not so willing to make mistakes or take risks because they pay attention a lot about others, people around them. So they want to know more about uh, things they can do, allowing things and things they cannot do in order to get students or get others respect, aware of themselves and others. So they become more aware about their actions and performance. Pay attention to form and meaning in language. So they want to know the meaning of each word, not the general meaning, the general idea. And then practice, have experience of life, so because they are adults. As you see here, we can notice that each age group is different. A English language teacher must teach each group according to the common differences by using a suitable method that suit to them. So individual differences here means that each student is different from another. So the teacher should pay attention to these differences in order to help them to learn by varying their teaching aids, activities, methods, and procedures in order to achieve learning for students.
A good teacher. Now we are going, of course, about if a language teacher. So you have to prepare. First of all, you have to feel self-confidence, plans carefully, prepare different teaching aids, prepare different ways for evaluating students' learning. You have to prepare or to use simple language, use story, song, games, suitable teaching methods for young learners. Uh, you have to encourage students to induct the rule from different examples and situations. You have to prepare real life situations and relaxed atmosphere for your students. Uh,
Based on things we mentioned during this lecture, you as English language teacher, how can you benefit from these things and teaching English for example, elementary stage students or intermediate or advanced students? You can use different things in your teaching. For example, you have to consider variation among students or differences among students, students' background, uh, why to appreciate their ability. How can you appreciate students' ability? By creating suitable activities, suitable procedure to help them to achieve the objective of the lesson. Also, you have to create different activities to help students to practice different language skills, to develop their different learning styles, to develop their multiple intelligences to meet the requirements of the current area, to help them to overcome their difficulties during learning English as a foreign language. So you have to plan appropriate activities to overcome and to meet individual differences and variations among your students. Uh, Also, you have to develop your teaching skills and competencies. You have to develop your background about how to teach English as a foreign language. By reading a lot about teaching methods, by reading a lot about recent trends in teaching English as a foreign language, by reading a lot and practice how to create activities that help students to feel interest during learning English, during practice English. Also, how to create activities that develop more than one multiple intelligence or one learning style. All these things help teacher to be a creative teacher, to be distinguished and unique teacher. Thank you for listening for this lecture. Next lecture, we are going to talk about and discuss more activities or how can you create activities to develop students' multiple intelligences and learning styles. So please try to prepare different activities, create different activities to develop different learning styles or different multiple intelligence before attend the next lecture in order to compare between your activities and next lecture activities. Thank you for listening.